Good evening. We both just realised we hadn't decided if one of us was starting or not.
We usually do
We
that
sometimes have a little prep. Who's going to start? So welcome to our pre-conference Zoom call. Whether you've already got a ticket or you haven't yet, or you're thinking about coming next year, or wherever you are in the possibilities soup. One of the things we'd kind of decided with this year's conference and going forward with the Being You event was that we wanted to make it like a kind of year-long thing. Not obviously we would literally stay there all year, but we, but I kind of, once the 3 days are finished and we're out of the room again, having a space that people can come to, and in the lead up to it, like we're doing now, a space that people can come to get back into the vibe of it, find out if they want to be there, all of that kind of stuff. So as part of that, we were like, right, what can we do to keep the to keep that going really, and give people that space? And Zoom calls were, well, they're one of our favorite things to do anyway, aren't they? Just get on a call and see lovely smiley faces. So tick, that's done. So this is one of the things that we kind of said, this is a nice way to do that in between the events. And the last call that we did, we talked about supernatural living, I think, didn't we?
We did a little bit, didn't we?
Actually, a few of your faces were with us then, and a few not, maybe. So I think Deb put out an email yesterday and picked a random sort of, not random.
These things happen. Something just came out, and then I was like, why did I say that? What was I going to say? What was that about in that moment?
So why don't you, do you want to dive into what that is and some of the inspiration behind that, and then
well, I think it's for me it was very much about all the busy creation, I guess, that's sort of going on with me, with us, and the fun of that, just the funness of what is being created. And I know sometimes when I speak with clients and speak with people, they talk about overwhelm. They mention that they feel overwhelmed, and there's a lot to do. And I was actually listening to someone. I've actually done a recording for my 60 conversations on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen any of my 60 conversations, there's some amazing ones on my YouTube channel. And I haven't had a second to upload it and put it on there, but I will. But I did this conversation just before this, and I was speaking to this guy, and he was talking about overwhelm, and something he had said, I'd heard him say before, really hit me. So I just sort of asked him about it, and he said how he stays out of overwhelm all of the time. And he is, from the things that I know he is up to, he is a pretty busy man. He has a lot on. And he said, the way that I stay out of overwhelm and is being present to the moment. And we all know, when we're on this call, be on this call. It's be where you are, be with what it is you're doing in that moment, because it can be overwhelming, if we're here on this call and then we're kind of like, oh, well, what have I got to do next? And and our head is somewhere else. That can very much make us feel overwhelmed. And then he said something. He said what he lives by, a little thing that he lives by that really helps him with overwhelm, is to be present in the moment. And then when he feels like he's got a lot to do, to just do the next right thing. And when he said that, when I first heard him say that, there was something in that really resonated with me. And as I said, with everything that I am getting up to, everything that I am doing, there are very often some conversations, some calls, some emails, some things that I am doing around speaking, definitely with the build and things like that I'm doing, speaking to people who they're very fluent in languages like architect. And, I have no idea what half the words that they use mean, this kind of thing. So I'm ending up having conversations and, with clients and all sorts of things for all sorts of reasons. There are sometimes conversations that come up that potentially could have me feeling they're awkward conversations. They're a little bit overwhelming. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And I notice one of my things over the years, one of my things has been, well, yeah, I'll do that later. you know, we can do this nice thing that I'm enjoying now, but this awkward email or this conversation, we can do that later. That's fine. And this very much, just do the next right thing. And the word in there that really hit me was right. And this really came back, I know, in the first conversations that we had around the conference, and the kinds of things that we're going to be sharing is very much, I'm really seeing that looking inside ourselves for our own inner guidance, for our own inner knowing about what is right for us. And, you know, when I know what is right for me, who I am, the next right step, it might feel a little bit, oh, but it is like, yeah, just take the next right step. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get caught in your thinking about it. Just take the next right step. And when I first got into, when I first started sharing about the build that I was doing, started sharing about that I was going to be building this house, and sharing that I was £10,000 short of the asking price for the land, and so I'd got to create this £10,000, and then so I was going into this. What I really saw was, when I heard Eric, this man, say that, do the next right thing, what I saw was, there was a month there where I brought in enough money to pay that £10,000 and 12 baskets over, which is a little bit joke between me and Beck. If you're not Bible familiar, there's the feeding of the 5,000, and what happens when Jesus feeds the 5,000 is they have 2 loaves and 5 fishes, and they manage to feed 5,000 people, and then when they collect up the scraps at the end, there are 12 baskets of leftover scraps. So one of the things that Beck and I joke about is, you know, in our business, oh yeah, how we want our business, how we want our service to be, how we want what we bring in, the whole thing. We have a whole, yeah, we're going to absolutely be in service and 12 baskets over, and we're going to bring in. So it's a little bit of an in joke, but yeah, this what I saw around this, do the next right thing and not getting overwhelmed by it, was to just step into doing the next right thing because it is in service. And when I had that time, and it was just like, I'm just going to step up and do this, I could see that I had taken that on without ever hearing that being spoken. That's kind of what I was doing. It's like, right, just do the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. Do the next right thing. So I was doing plenty of things, and then what was coming back was absolutely, from that space of doing within me the right thing, what was coming back was enormous. And I have observed and seen, and we were discussing this earlier today, the difference between showing up from that inspired action of doing the next right thing, and the difference, and it might even be, this is the strange thing in one sense about it, is the action might actually be the exact same, but I've noticed that when I am doing what I think I should, or pushing myself or forcing myself to do something, it doesn't have the same impact as when I am inspired to be doing the next right thing, from a clear knowing of what it is I'm doing, what it is I'm creating, who it is I'm being, any of those words that we can put onto it. So it's really, the whole just do the next right thing has really impacted how I'm showing up and what I am doing moment to moment, and what the next thing is that I am going to do. It's really had an impact, and sort of had an impact on keeping me out of thinking, oh my gosh, there's a million things to do, there's all these things on the board, there's all these things on my to-do list. It's right, do the next right thing. Just pick the one and do the next right thing. So I'd be really interested in opening up to what anyone heard in any of that sharing, what anyone, whether there was anything that made any sense there.
Can I ask a question?
Please do, Lizzie.
Could you just say a bit about how that relates to what you were saying earlier about how you used to go, or maybe do that later. So what happened is that are you now doing now things that you would have put till later, or what? I didn't quite know what you meant.
Yes, yeah, exactly that. Like I can see, interestingly, we had another conversation that Becca and I had. I also saw that I would create crises somewhere and then have to go and rescue or do something like that, and it would be like, well, that's interesting, because that would get me off the hook from doing the next right thing if it felt scary. And that showed up for me. I saw that too. It's like, oh wow, that's what you're doing. And having knowing what it is, like for me, definitely with the, and it doesn't have to be, you know, when we have got something that we are aiming towards, something we're doing, it doesn't have to be anything grand or anything like that at all. But there is I'm creating my business here, I'm creating this house or whatever it is that I'm doing. Oh, Frank, hi Frank. And just seeing if this is what you are doing, what would be the next right thing to do. But yeah, very, very much I could see that my thing was, I have an awkward conversation to have, or I have something, an email I don't want to send, or something in it, you know, like that, and that would go back, that would be put back. And now when I'm looking at this and saying, right, just do the next, I'm looking down here because it's actually written, I actually wrote it out, do the next right thing. If I looked at my list of what to do, I know what the next right thing is. And it's like, then it's like, okay, that's the agreement we've got with ourselves. We're doing the next right thing.
Can I just add something to that? Because for me as well, one of the things I have noticed around the doing the next, like for me, for a long time, I had the idea in my head, do the next thing. And then just this week, Deb kind of added the word right in there, which took it to the next level. But the do the next thing and adding in the right part for me also means that there are times when I don't do things that are on my to-do list because it's not the right time to do them. Like I've had something, not a work related thing, interestingly, but I've had something in my mind to do for about 3 weeks. Not an urgent thing at all, just something I needed to check. And every time I thought about doing it, I was like, oh gosh, I feel sick. I can't even look at that. And then this morning, out of nowhere, it popped into my head and I was like, oh, I'm ready to do that. Opened my emails, looked, found it, went, oh, perfect. That's what I needed to know. And it was so smooth and exactly what I needed it to be. And I really kind of felt that this was the next right thing. I was sat in bed drinking my cup of tea, and the next right thing was to do, oh yeah, that thing that's been in my mind for about 3 weeks to do. And so it sort of works both ways for me, if that makes sense to your question, Lizzie. There are absolutely times when there's something that needs doing and now isn't the next right thing for that to be. That was kind of what was occurring to me when Deb was sharing there.
It's subtle, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
it's like that's the sort of, oh, I don't want to do that is not that different from what Deb was saying about the, you know, oh, I'll do it maybe later.
Yeah.
But it's like when it becomes part of a pattern of, yeah, well, maybe later,
Yeah.
and then at some point later it becomes the next right thing. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
rather than like, oh, I'm avoiding that, that's a horrible thing. It's like, no, its time hasn't come yet. It has a different feel to it.
Yeah, it is really subtle, because equally, like, I can use that to avoid things, you know, things in my later pile. But it definitely, that kind of recognition in me of, actually, this isn't the right moment to do this. And when that right moment came this morning, I was looking for something, I booked something and spent quite a lot of money on it, and then I got it in my head that I hadn't booked it and I'd sent money somewhere and I'd lost like £400, and I was thinking, oh crap, I haven't booked it. I don't know where the email is. I can't find. And this morning I just was I was just there, and I was like, just go and look in your folder where you know that email is, because you booked it, and find it. And there it was, with all the information, the money I paid, the reference, the date, everything. And I was like, oh, there it is. But for the last few weeks, I'd been, every time it had occurred to me to do it, I was like, I can't, it's not the right time. I need to feel into that. And the moment came this morning, and it was like, oh, there it is.
It's interesting that you bring the subtleties of these things into it, Lizzie, because I think all of these things and all of the sharing come with such nuances and subtleties, don't they? It's like, and those tiny things are the things, they're the difference that make the difference. Listening into, hearing those little tiny nuances and subtleties. And to me, that is the spiritual saying, know thyself. And it's like, we are so good at kidding ourselves and tricking ourselves and pretending and doing all of these things. I'm loving your face,
is it,
Lou.
Lou? Yeah, just Lou, the rest of us.
Yeah,
but
all
Lou.
I mean, obviously me and Beck are perfect, but Lou, yeah, I'm speaking here about Lou, really, you know. But that whole, yeah. And I think that was it, when it was sort of like, do the next right thing as a part of the creations that are going on for me. It's kind of seeing, yeah, there is a moment to step up. And we've been doing the conference now. What will this be?
This will be number 5.
Number 5. So this will be the 5th conference that we have done. And I have to say, as part of mine, definitely as the do the next right thing, part of what has been going on for me is stepping up as a leader of the conference. And and there has been, I can see, like, that this conference started from absolutely from a moment of inspiration, just an absolute following and an inspired idea. And the first conference we did, the feeling in that room, we did something truly beautiful and amazing. And on the flip side of that, there was definitely some fear in me. And I could see, you know, into the second conference, I took that fear. And I know one thing for me was, I can't do this on my own. And it's like, I need people to help me. And then I would have this story that people aren't helping me. They're not hearing me. They're not seeing me. They're not helping me. This isn't working. This isn't working. And every time we got into the room, what happened in the room was just, we do that bit incredibly well. And then my leadership of this and my fear around that leadership and my fear of stepping up would really get in the way of the creation of, you know, coming up to it, and the desperation that I would feel about people being in the room or not being in the room would really show up for me. And this whole, oh, I'm trying to create this thing and nobody is interested, nobody, you know, all our stories that we have would really hamper the whole thing. And there would definitely be a whole period of time where we would be like, why are we doing a conference? This is just hard work. It's difficult. It's like, do you actually want to do this thing? Do you want to really be in the room again? And then, you know, we would get into the room, and when we were in the room, all of us would go, oh my God, we've got to do this. And everybody's in the room is, no, you've got to do this again. This is the most beautiful, magical, wonderful thing. It's great. It's great. And so over, I think it's been just before the last conference, I really started to see my creation around that was getting in the way of this being what I wanted it to be. My creation. It was my stories of people should, you know, as we do, and who these people are that should, and they weren't, and all of this kind of thing. I really started to see that. And so part of my stepping up as a leader of this, there was some, just before the last conference, there were 2 or 3 incredibly, for me, difficult conversations that had to be had. And again, I really see that it was just do the next right thing. You know what is right here. And ever since coming across the principles, what is the right thing in the moment has been more and more clear to me. And then the times when I lean into that and do it, I see the results of that. I see what comes from that. And the moments when I move into fear and don't do those things, I see the results of that too. It was like, so coming up to the last conference that happened, and then directly after the conference, there was a period of time when it was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to do this whole leader thing again, and I'm gonna have to step up. And it's really fascinating because I am a leader, and I am definitely in my happy place when I am doing that. I thrive on it and I love it. And then there are some scary elements about it. And it's like, I want to run away from that. I don't want to do that. And what probably about 6 months ago, I don't even know when, I started having some real insights around that. And it was kind of totally letting go of the shoulds, the musts on both myself and anybody else. It was just kind of like, right, get clear about what it is you're creating here. And I could see, like in my relationships, I can see that it makes it's so clear to me that in my relationships, I show up to Russ and my job is to love him. My job isn't to change him. My job isn't to, I've got nothing on it. It's like, I am just going to love you, and you will be here tomorrow or you won't. I'm just going to love you. And I think I have the least amount of manipulation going on in that transaction than in anything else in my life. It's kind of like, I'm not doing it so that you will. I'm just loving you because I love you. And I kind of saw, right, okay, just show up to the conference with, I just love doing this and I know how amazing and awesome it is. And I'm not, drop any form of, do the next right thing, drop any manipulation, drop any of what you're making up, drop any of the stories that you have about this. And it's literally, we have watched the last 6 months, the energy, the difference, and then the theme of this conference, when we get in the room, the theme of this that we're doing here is, how can we genuinely be of service? And not be of service so that, apart from Frank here, because Frank's got to come, but no, apart, we love you, Frank. Not of service so that you come into the room, not of service so that, it's just like, how can we be of service? And then allow the whatever happens next to happen next. And the do the next right thing almost kind of came, it's like, yeah, that was almost words on, all you're doing is do the next right thing. And the next right thing is to show up in service to the best of your ability, with no you must or you should for the person, people, whatever it is in front of you. It's just, how can I truly be of service to you? And the difference, like, as you, well, you don't know, we have a WhatsApp group that is called the Fab Five, and it's me and Beck and Lou and Rani and Denise. We are the Fab Five, obviously. And there has been a couple of times, you know, when things around the conference have been discussed in that group, and it's like, right, I know what the next right thing to do is here. Okay, so step up and do it. And the energy and the difference and the love and the respect, I can feel it. Like, we all, you know, it's that whole, oh my gosh, the heaviness about, before we're in the room creating it, what we're creating it is like, I am so excited for what we are creating, and there is no part of me, this conference is, you know, we've already got next year's dates. I can't remember, it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? I can't, with everything, where we had made the decision not to do any more conferences.
It was after the first conference, because we were at a
Was
different
it?
venue for the first conference, and then
No, but when at this one, there was one
Did
time
we?
me and you had a conversation, and we, yeah,
Oh yes, sorry, I remember. Yeah, because we were changing things up, and I was saying I didn't really want to do some of the way that we'd done the conference. I didn't want to do some of it that way. And so we were in the room, and we were kind of saying we're not doing this again. And then on the last day, you went and booked the dates for next year with the venue. Like, okay, we're doing it again next year, apparently. Yeah, yes. That was, I think that was the one before the pandemic. And then we didn't actually end up doing the dates that we'd booked because we couldn't. But yeah, we've done 2 since then. But yes,
and
yeah,
it's,
that's right.
yeah, and kind of like, you know, what I see, the whole, everything is always working out for me, and all of these kinds of things, what I see is we get what we need to learn and grow. It's like, I created a conference because I wanted to be in service to people, and because I want to learn and grow. I want to do more of that. I want to be better at that. I want to be more integrity with that. I want to show up as more love, more support, more in service. And I can see, you know, these opportunities when the other 4 of my Fab 5 are kind of going, this, and I'm going, no, oh no, I've got to say no. Or whatever it is, you know, and I can see the people pleaser in me. It's like, yeah, that's not, you can't, I can see that I cannot be a good leader and a people pleaser. And actually what happens, and what happens, again, if this comes back round to people pleasing, is a form of manipulation. And we don't see it as that in many, you know, when we look at the 2 sides of that coin, and we see, you know, the bullying end of that, the abusive end of that, we're very quick to kind of say, oh, you know, well, we shouldn't do that. But people pleasing, being the polar opposite of that, it has the exact same traits. It's just a different way of showing up with manipulation. And it's kind of like, I am very, very interested. I think part of what I want to create through the conference is people seeing that victimhood, which again comes with the manipulation. It's sort of, there's a better way to be in the world. There is a better way to live. There is a simpler way. There is, and the results and what you get, you can't do it. It's one of those, you can't trick the universe. You can't kind of think, oh, okay, I'm going to do that so that I get. You literally have to let go. It's right, okay, so if nobody turns up to the conference, nobody buys a ticket, nobody is interested, it's like, just show up in service and in love and in knowing that you are doing the next right thing. So one of the things that I tend to do, you probably just noticed, is kind of just share things that share what's going on. So basically, over the last couple of days, some of that has been playing out. There's been a couple of, right, okay, just get more and more and more clear about this being in service and doing the next right thing, because it is totally underwhelming. It underwhelms you completely rather than overwhelming, when it's just like, right, okay, yeah, just show up, be in service and do the next right thing. So again, open it up for any questions. What people didn't know any of that was going to come out.
No, I do. It's one of my favorite things when we get on a call. It feels like we just kind of wind Deb up and off she goes, like one of those little toys that kind of Oh, let's see what's going to come.
I love what you're saying, Deb. Being sort of exploring the being in service. What is true service? And what vision I have when you were talking was like, it's getting all the story, the personal story, all the stuff is out of the way. You see the road, you see the best possible thing that could be with this conference, and it's just like, that's all I need to do. It's actually not difficult. The decisions will be made as I walk along, and the steps along the way become simple because there's not all that personal thinking, or if there is, you're recognizing it again. Okay, you just got on with the personal thinking over there. I'm just going to do this because it's the next right thing to do, and then the next right thing. And it's, I mean, I just wrote down "let go and let God" because that came to my head, and it's just universal consciousness, my thought consciousness is giving me everything I need. And if I just tap straight into that, if I'm straight in alignment and not getting pulled into, oh, I can't possibly do that, it's too difficult, or I don't want to do that, or what feels right? I think that's a lovely, lovely thing to say. It's the nudge. It's that little, that's what you need to do next. That's what you need to do next. I just think it's a lovely, lovely conversation. No drama, no judgment, just ease. Way of ease.
It definitely is a way of ease, and it is only my mind that makes up, well, such and such a person will think, such and such a person will say, such and such a person will do, and it's like, yeah, that's none of my business. And then and seeing this universal mind absolutely has our back, even in those moments when things are unfolding and it's like, here, are you sure? And it's like, yeah, even here, even in the midst of whatever here is, it's kind of like, yes, yeah, because this isn't about, I know your story, and this isn't about life necessarily always giving us what we think we should have next. But there somehow is, we are continually asking, and you see, yeah, ask and we are given. And I really, really see that. And it's like, oh, okay. This, when I asked for that, what I meant was,
Yeah, I didn't quite want it like that, because that's a bit, it's a bit nice. It's a pretty package with a bow on it, but you've just given this brown paper box and said, this is the one you've got to do.
yeah. And yet, I can see that I am continually asking for more growth. I'm continually asking to be in service more. And it is like, okay, here you go then. Here's some growth. If I didn't mean.
And it's interesting. I was talking with another spiritual group this morning on this, and we were doing meditation on it. The worst things that happen to us are the best growth, however shit they are.
Yes.
When we come out, if and when we come out the other side.
Yeah.
And hindsight and all that, and you look back and think, oh my God, I wouldn't be here where I am today without that thing that happened.
Yeah. And it is that where we are today is, we tend to, at some point we see, yeah, this is where I was asking to be, when in that moment of inspiration to create a conference, and there definitely was some, I could see in me, I want to create this, I want to lead this, I want to do this. It's going, okay, you want to be a leader, here we go then.
We're on the roundabout. And it's going to go like that, up, round and round, very brightly coloured.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, somebody who is a seasoned people pleaser, that's not good leadership. That's not true. That's not service. That's not leadership. Saying, saying yes to things when your heart is clearly saying this is a no is not leadership. It's not service. It's not love. And it's like, oh God, I've got to say no. Do the next right thing. Do the next right thing. And sometimes, you know, those right things in the moment when we have these, you know, the things that we are creating, who we're stepping into being, these kinds of things, it looks like they're, oh, you know, I'm going to give up. This is too hard. I can't create this thing. I can't do this thing. I'm going to run away and not do that thing. And then it comes back around. If we have a true desire to be more, to create more, and I think in all of us, in one way or another, we have the desire to be more. You know, it feels like, and certainly I think people in this conversation, there is something in us that is waking up and kind of inviting us to more. And it's like, yeah, I want more. And it's like, okay, to truly have this more that you're looking for, here's your brown paper bag. Not you could. And yet again and again and again, time and time again, the flip side of that, what I see, you know, my relationship with Russ, my relationship actually with Lou, Beck, Rani and Denise is, the other day I walked into the kitchen, or I don't know exactly when it was, I walked in the kitchen and Lou said, full respect, Deb, for something. And it's like, whoa, respect on Lou. And it's like, and
you know, you made it when.
And it is, yeah, stepping into those things, and you know what comes back, and who you then, the ease, you know, the ease of, it's like, yeah, this is, I love this being, I love this is me, this is what I want to step in to being. And I had I don't know, a week and a half ago, a couple of weeks ago, I went somewhere and I just had one of these moments, like one of these throwback moments to being somebody that I was, I don't know, probably a couple of years ago, and it was horrible. I was like, whoa, that does not fit me anymore. I obviously went into some thinking, and somebody asked a question and something happened, and I kind of went into this people-pleasing little mouse, and it was like, oh yeah, that does not, it was horrible. It's like, no. And it was an interesting lesson to then, again, things are always working out for us. I really saw that in that moment. Then an opportunity to step into leadership around the conference, step into leadership around what is going on here, opened up. And it was like, I know who I want to be. I know what I want to step into doing. Becca.
Sorry, I was just drinking water. You just said something and it just made me realise something that I've been doing. And yeah, I feel like I've sort of stepped into my past self, and it's really not nice. And I just declared that that's it, I am done. And I'm coming back to my new self. So you said about the people pleasing, and it just doesn't feel nice. And I feel like that tension, like I feel like that happens every time I talk about mine and Rand's wedding with my mum. It's like every time the topic has come up in the past, I think I avoided it last year. All of last year, I managed to just avoid talking about our wedding with Rand, with my mum, with anyone. I just completely avoided it. And then got comfortable talking about it with Rand. And then talking about it with my mum, it just brings up so much tension. I think because we're so similar, like we get that sort of puppy excitement. And then she's just got a very different opinion on money to me. And she's like, it's fine, we can just put it on a credit card and we can just do this and it doesn't matter, and you know, you only get married once. And I'm just like, yeah, but even if I had £100,000, I would not spend £100,000 on my wedding. I just don't think it's necessary. Even if I had £1 million, I still wouldn't spend £100,000 on my wedding. I don't think it's necessary. And Rand agrees with me. And given that it's our wedding, I think we win there. But like, yeah, it just feels so horrible. And it's like, I don't want it to feel like that, because me and my mum are like best friends. So yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah, and I guess it's leaning into your clarity. What was that?
I was pointing to the words.
Oh,
Do the next right
do the next
thing.
right thing.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, but go on, carry on what you were.
I was just saying, like I have seen around doing the next right thing, and this it's leaning into your own clarity. Like people pleasing comes from, I need you to like me, I can't upset you, I mustn't say something that you know is going to rock the boat, all of those kinds of things, because I need. And it's stepping into, okay, what if I don't need? What if I'm whole and complete? You know, and this is the basics of the principles, what everything that we do here. It's like, well, what if that's true? What if I am whole and complete? So I don't need, and then the need to manipulate, the need to watch what we say, the need to be careful. And this isn't about, you know, always with kindness and love and respect. It's never about trampling over people or anything. You know, there is the balance there. But when we show up knowing that we are whole and complete, and you know, for a long time ago, I really saw that the strongest energy around something wins. And so when we have a certainty over who we are or something like that, you know, and even, you know, love, kindness, when we have a certainty about that, we can show up, our energy can be the stronger energy when we show up for something. And always showing up in an energy of love, connection, seeing the good and the beauty in the person. Because I can see, you know, I would be blind if somebody wasn't doing what I thought they should be doing in some form or another. You know, I'm not seeing that person, I'm seeing what they're doing or not doing, not, you know, not the truth about that person. And when we stop putting I need and expectations and our things onto people, and definitely, you know, I can absolutely see that around relationships. It's kind of like, if I just show up, as I said, my job is to just love you. And when we are just seeing somebody through the eyes of love, then we have this amazing, the power, you know, wisdom is the name often used for it, but this, you know, the power, the intelligence, the creative essence, there is something magical in every moment that is present there that then shows up. It's like, it's not, there isn't a prescription for what you do next, but when you absolutely show up to someone with love and just see that person, then what you do, what you say, you can totally trust wisdom in that. What comes out of your mouth next, what needs to be said, what needs to be shared, what happens. And very, very often, you know, we can do that and then innocently and accidentally form a, oh, this is what you do in that situation. This is what you say in that situation. And what I see, that the deeper thing, that the more magical thing that's going on here is, we can just lean into that situation and trust the wisdom, the grace, this intelligence. And when we are I can't think how it's said, like, the way when we have got ourselves, if you like, you know, when I show up to something, everything that I do is seen through Deb's eyes. So it's like I've got a pair of Deb glasses on, you know, so everything I see is a little bit Deb. And it's like but there is something, you know, the intelligence of the universe has got much more intelligence than Deb. And it's like, the more, when I show up and just see love and do, I can trust that intelligence that knows so much better than me. I can trust that it will be there in the moment that I need it. So what I am going to say, what I'm going to share, there is going to be something in that, because beyond Debness, there is this intelligence that will always show up for me. And the only times that it shows up for me, but the only time when I don't see it is when I am busy in my thinking. You should, I should, they should, it should be like this. It shouldn't be like that. And yeah, when we lean into exactly what is with love and trust, that's when the miracles of what comes out of your own mouth, what comes out of the mouth of the person that's with you, what's heard by the people that are with you, what goes on, what happens, that's when miracles occur, when we lean into that.
Me, can I speak? I really like what you said there, Deb, like with the trust thing, because it brings it back round to the beginning of the overwhelm thing. Like when you were talking about that and that next right thing, or whatever word it is. And like, I'm really good at getting trapped in overwhelm and knowing things to do or whatever. I get myself so wound up with. It's more that there's just so many things I want to do because I love so many things, and I get really like crazy about that. But I watch myself, and I know, like Gillian was saying this a little bit earlier about the feeling thing. I can feel when my body relaxes and I feel in that trust, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to paint that now, or I'm just going to do this now. And it's not even just like, for me, and I think for everyone, but I don't know, like, it's just not even the words, is it? It's that feeling in you, which is so different for all of us. But the feeling of like settled and peace and relief and all of those things, it's like, that's where it is. And then I do millions of things. I get so much done when I'm like that. And I'm just like, it's so incredible. And it doesn't even feel, and then it will only be 2 o'clock. And I'm like, what? There's still like a whole day. And I love it when it's like that, because the overwhelm gets me crazy. But I know I go in and out of it. And that next right thing, like the other thing I was going to talk about, and I think we'll probably talk about this more at the conference, me and you, Deb, especially, because it's not like one size fits all, and you can't say what the next right thing is. And even if that is right for you and not for the other person, even in that changes in each moment as well. Like it's not even a fixed thing for you. But I know that one of the things me and Deb are really good at is seeing things. Definitely Deb sees things through her Deb glasses, and I see things through Lucy's glasses, and they're very different glasses. And we have a lot of learning and growth. I think it's brilliant. Well, sometimes I don't. It actually pisses me off. It's really good, really. Like we've come to a really good like relationship now, really. I think where we have really seen how much we respect each other and how different it is, and that's okay. Like it's one of those things in the principal world, isn't it, where it's like, yeah, well, we've known that for ages. Of course people see separate realities and all that, but then when you actually experience it and you're going, yeah, but Deb's wrong, and Deb's like, yeah, but Lucy's wrong, and then it's like, oh, hang on a minute, it's both fine. Like, yeah, so I think it's just really important to remember that as well, isn't it? That the next right thing is just interchangeable all the time.
Absolutely. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
And I think that, you know, the feeling thing for me is definitely, I feel everything in my body, and and getting to grips with that and getting to trust that and know, yeah, is really helpful for where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something earlier, and I think it was something off the back of when we were talking and responding to Lizzie's question about what I've really loved about what we've talked about tonight, and the next right thing is at the core of that is the actual name of our event, Being You. It's like at the core of that, it's not do the next right thing that Deb thinks is right, or do the next right thing that Lou thinks is right, or Beck thinks, like do the next right thing that is you. Like the whole essence of being you is getting to know your own subtleties. That was the bit when we were talking, and Lizzie was asking about the subtle, like know your own subtleties, because they'll be slightly different to mine or slightly different to Deb's or anybody else on the call. And the whole kind of essence of being you is becoming familiar with your subtleties, so you know what your next right thing is, so you can have your pile of later that you're actually kind of getting through, whatever that might be, that will be different to my pile and my way of getting through it. Because definitely, and I see that, and I hope it does come up at the conference, because there's been, when you were saying Deb's over here saying this, Lou's over here saying, and I'm kind of in the middle of going, oh, this is interesting, it's like a little tennis match. Lou thinks this is right, Deb thinks this is right, Beck's not saying a word. Like, but having watched that play out between the two of you, and particularly I think over the last year, there's been some real insights for both of you around, oh, my right doesn't make them wrong. That's my next right thing. That's my being me. And I think that for me is one of the reasons we kind of went with Being You as our conference name this year. And I think that's something we're intending to stick with and kind of brand our conference as Being You. Because every time we kind of see something new at the core of it, it's like, oh, it's a deeper level again of being who I am, of inviting you to be who you are, because you're Lucy or Lizzie or Gillian, you're not Beck. It's not, there's no point you being Beck, I've got that covered. Like the whole point here is you being you. And that's for me at everything tonight, as everyone's spoken, as Deb's been sharing, it just, every time somebody said to me, I was like, yep, being you. That's what we're saying here, isn't it? Oh, it's like we knew how to name the conference. And even that was an inspirational conversation when that name came out. It was really inspired. And actually, I think all five of us in our own way pulled that inspiration, and that's what came out in a really gorgeous conversation. And I just, the whole evening this evening, that's what I've been hearing in different ways, is this is us and you, and the whole invitation from each of us back and forward to each other tonight has been, oh, be you. Oh, I can do the next right thing for me. Yay. Cool. And I really think that's going to be, well, I know that's going to be what's coming from the stage during those 3 days when we're together. So
it's like we could call our business Dare to Be You or something.
We so should.
And you know, and people pleasing and those kinds of things, and all of that noise in our head, all of that is about the fear of stepping into being who we are. Because you know, and I can see, you know, I know Lucy and our journey together has been hugely impactful in seeing the whole, we don't have to agree on everything all of the time. Because I know like when Lou first came into this conversation, I'd heard something around the principles, and then Lou showed up and she was listening to me and learning. And then at some point, which is quite right, that I really see the rightness in this now, at some point Lou was like, oh yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying now, this is what it means to me. And I'm kind of going, no. Do what it means to me, because I'm the one who knows this and I'm the one who's right.
And I was like, hang on a minute, you could learn a thing or two from me now, Deb.
And kind of stepping into, and that, yeah, it humbles you, and it reminds you, you know, true leadership is allowing somebody, you know, parenting is leadership. And I know a lot of the time when I speak to people around parenting, there is this huge thing about letting their children be themselves, you know, and sometimes as children, it's like allowing our parents to be themselves. It's like, they can't be, they're my parents, they need to be this. But it is, and seeing, so I know both Lou and I have had some huge learning around seeing, yeah, we see the world very, very differently, but that, and really the paradox of knowing me being right about this doesn't make you wrong if you see it differently. And I think there's something huge to see in that too. You know, because I've been on both sides of that coin. It's kind of like, oh, Lou sees it differently, so I must be wrong. I'm going to have to change this view that feels right in my heart, or whatever it is. And equally, you know, then sometimes, yeah, I'm right here. Lou needs to change. And both of those, it's a real invitation to step in every aspect of our lives into following our own inner knowing, the subtleties, the beauty, our own inner knowing of our own heart, which is such a gift. And, you know, the world absolutely, the world couldn't be better than if we were each showing up, truly being ourselves. There couldn't be that's the best thing that's available here. So I don't know if anyone else has got anything else they would like to share or add, or
I don't know why Frank hasn't bought his ticket yet.
I thought we'd agreed to we weren't going to name and shame people on the call.
I didn't get that memo, you know me.
Bought tickets and some people haven't yet, and that's okay, because it's exactly 1 month today that we're going to be at the conference. So haven't got a ticket, you can still get it.
It's only because it's Frank that I said it.
I just wanted to say that I really love your painting behind you, Lou.
Oh, do you want to buy it?
So
I've been admiring it too. There might be a bidding war. It's quite like my one.
It is
Quite
similar to
like
yours,
my
Lizzie,
one.
yeah.
Over
Yeah.
here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one.
Because
Yeah,
you've not been doing so many abstract ones.
No, I haven't done abstract for ages.
I
so-
have a Lucy
Also-
painting on my wall. It's a bit far.
What's that?
There. Yeah, too much effort.
Oh, nice. Well, make sure that's at the conference then, and we'll see what
Well,
happens.
maybe I'll bring some abstract stuff to the conference, yeah.
Hmm.
And
Start
also
a
the
bidding war.
colours.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like this. I like
Fun.
It
it.
is bright colours.
Nice. So yes, we're in the room 6th to the 8th of March, so you can still get your ticket. And if you happen to be watching this recording and it's too late for 2024, if you're kind of late to the party, we've already got the dates for 2025 is the 5th
No
to the
flies on
7th of March. So
Wait, when's 2025?
5th to the 7th of March.
And there will be an opportunity to get the early bird or whatever while we're in the room at the conference at the best price for next year as well. That will be available.
You
So
know, no excuses, Frank.
it's a good job he loves us, isn't it?
Frank could just buy one now and for next year.
Two
So
for the
many
price of one.
options. Oh, it has been really lovely to be with you all again this evening, and hopefully
Frank, you be you.
see you. Yes, see you all at the conference. Mwah, mwah.
Love
See
you
you
all.
all soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye.